Hey there YouTube, this is the Wrecker84 here, and today I'm going to be doing some TFYTC homework. For those people who don't know, the TFYTC, the Facebook page, sets these like little homework tasks, like videos. It's kind of just to get more YouTube interaction with the page, getting more people making videos, which I think is an amazing idea. I think it adds a lot more community spirit and it allows people to make more videos and for people to just get more well known. So I've decided this week I'm actually going to do one because I've been a little bit busy lately, so I haven't been able to do videos. But I've decided this week I sent in a question on one of Dave's Facebook posts, and he actually quite liked it. So I think I'm going to answer that question now, which was, are the live-action movies everything we hoped they'd be? Now, at the moment, that might be slightly controversial because obviously the new trailer came out only a couple of days ago, and that's probably the main reason why I thought of the topic. I think it's a good topic because a lot of people have different opinions of the movies, and I know my opinion is going to be different from another person's, and so on and so forth. So I feel like it's a great way to kind of get more interaction out of the group and get people saying their opinion, not just in a post when they're saying it in a video. So I think it's a great idea. For really a short answer, overall yes. I think they have lived up to my expectations. They are what I hoped they'd be. You know, it's a new imagining of the Transformers story. It's like a new imagining of how they came to Earth and how they interact with humans. You know, obviously instead of coming from the Ark, they came in like asteroid things, protoforms, whatever you want to call them. Like they came from, you know, Cybertron or wherever, down to Earth instead of coming from like the Ark or whatever. So it's like it's a new imagining as like how their designs are different, and you know, it's just I think overall it's a great new way to tell their story, I think, and it's involved so many new stories on top of that. So I think, like most people, when the first movie was announced, I was very excited about it. It was just like the first trailer that came out, it just looked fantastic. I loved the look of the CGI, and obviously at that point how old must I have been? At that point I think I was 8, so to me, from an 8-year-old's perspective, it looked amazing. I loved absolutely everything about the trailer. It looked fantastic, and obviously this standpoint is going to be different from, say, someone else's standpoint who was like maybe 10 years older than me. Someone who's maybe in their late 20s now would have been a teenager, whereas me, teenager now, I was an 8-year-old. So my perspective is going to be a little bit different, and I thought it was fantastic. I loved the look of the first trailer, and then the first movie came out, and I was astonished. It was so amazing. It was everything that I had hoped it would be after like watching the G1 cartoon and Cybertron, Energon, Armada even. Like, I watched those as a kid, so they were my childhood TV shows. So to see those TV shows and G1 and everything brought into the real world was just fantastic. It was absolutely amazing. So like overall, first movie, that lived up to expectations straight away. Revenge of the Fallen. Now, after the first movie, I think everyone hoped that the next one would be just as good or even better. You know, we thought it would expand on the story, maybe even go into more of why they came to Earth, maybe a little bit more into like kind of like more into like the prequel kind of information about why they've come to Earth and everything. I thought that'd be a good way to do it. But then they just created this story that I didn't understand most of the story for Revenge of the Fallen. The plot seemed to get lost a little bit. Character-wise, you know, there wasn't really much expansion on characters. We got some new characters. You know, we got Sideswipe and Jetfire and Skids and Mudflap. No one likes Skids and Mudflap, but we won't go into that. But it seemed like a bit of a letdown. Compared to the first movie, you know, all the hype and the hope that everyone had for the first movie just vanished for the second movie. As soon as the second movie came out, I'm being completely honest, like I lost a bit of hope for the movies. It made me lose interest a little bit. Revenge of the Fallen kind of brought everything down for me. I mean, sure, like there were some good parts, like the forest fight scene was amazing, and just like there were the odd character that was cool, like Jetfire and Sideswipe, both new characters. They were both fantastic in the second movie, but I don't know. It didn't live up to the expectation that we had, and that's probably the biggest reason why maybe a lot of people didn't like Revenge of the Fallen as much, is because it didn't live up to their expectations because of the first movie. Because the first movie was so amazing, the second movie seemed to be a step down rather than a step up. Now, personally for me, after that, with Revenge of the Fallen coming out, and then obviously when Dark of the Moon was announced, after the first trailer, I was really excited for that. Like, I wasn't excited because of Revenge of the Fallen, I think. The hype kind of died down because of Revenge of the Fallen. Dark of the Moon, it looked good, like, on all the trailers, but if I'm honest, Revenge of the Fallen did look good from the trailers. So I didn't really want to hype it up, like, just in case it was terrible. So I didn't psych myself up for it, ready to be let down by it. But then it turns out, when Dark of the Moon came out, it was amazing. It was fantastic. Dark of the Moon probably is my favourite of the live action movies. It was so well done. The CGI was, CGI obviously it was off in a few places, but that was the same with all four movies. But it was so great just to see. It was like a new expansion on the story, but it did it in a more positive way, because obviously Revenge of the Fallen, obviously it still expanded the story, but it was in a bad way. Dark of the Moon did it in a very good way. I loved how obviously you had Shockwave in it, and Megatron had a new vehicle mode and everything. But that was the thing about hype and what we hoped for from Dark of the Moon with Shockwave. He was in it for about 5 minutes, when in the trailers he seemed to be a big part of it. Like, I know obviously they were trying to hide the fact that it was Sentinel that was the bad guy, and he wasn't an Autobot, he was actually a Decepticon. But kind of, like, technically he was an Autobot, but he was joined the Decepticons to help rebuild Cybertron and everything. But I liked how they did that, but they still hyped up Shockwave so much when they could have just hyped up Megatron again. Like, I did like Shockwave, like the little amount that he was in it, but not just because he wasn't in it as much. And the Driller, that was still cool, but again, that wasn't in it very much. But yeah, like overall, like everything we hoped for, we hoped Dark of the Moon would be a lot better than Revenge of the Fallen, and it was tons better. I think most people probably would agree that Dark of the Moon was better than Revenge of the Fallen. Some people might not, but then again, it's just what we hope for. If we hoped Dark of the Moon would be good, then we're satisfied with it. You know, I was satisfied with Dark of the Moon. I was more than satisfied with how it turned out. It was a great way to like just have a good story. Like, it managed to pull off the story quite well after the disappointment of Revenge of the Fallen. How they carried it on was great. So now Age of Extinction. Now Age of Extinction is the one that I'm probably less happy about in terms of the films. Like, Age of Extinction, obviously after the events of Dark of the Moon, there wasn't really much the Transformers could do. Like, obviously they were going to be hunted. Like, Age of Extinction portrayed it out as they were hunted by the humans. They were all getting killed. Ratchet got murdered. Leadfoot got murdered. But how they portrayed it, I think honestly they did do it quite well. As in, like, when they were getting hunted down by humans, like with what they had to work with. Like, obviously because of the events of Dark of the Moon, and obviously like the little, like, maybe the months or years after it, there wasn't really much of a story they could develop where they were on the human side, or the humans were helping them. Because obviously after Dark of the Moon, they'd kind of destroyed Chicago. So you can't really blame the humans for wanting them out or dead or whatever. But obviously with the hype of the trailer looked good. Dinobots in the trailer were fantastic. And then the disappointment when the Dinobots were in it for, I think I did actually calculate, it was roughly 11 or 12 minutes they had for screen time, which is ridiculous when they took over a lot of trailers. Like, there was lots of footage of Dinobots, and you had Grimlock charging at Optimus, and you had Strafe catching Bumblebee and whatever. Like, you had all that. You had a lot of hype for the Dinobots, and we all hoped, I know I hoped, that Dinobots were going to be amazing. I thought they were amazing in the trailer. But they weren't. They weren't amazing in the film. They were still cool, they just didn't get enough screen time. And obviously we hoped for a better story. Didn't quite get a better story than Dark of the Moon. I'd hazard a guess that we didn't get a better story than Revenge of the Fallen. Revenge of the Fallen was a bad story, but so was Age of Extinction. So they both had bad stories. They both had bad, like, kind of character concepts and like how, like the ideas of what the characters were going to do in the movie and everything. They were on par with each other of how bad they were. It was ridiculous. But now we come to The Last Night, and obviously that's not out yet, but I think this is a good topic to talk about because we've just seen the trailer, so we've got that sort of like level of, some of us have hype for it, some of us don't, some of us are excited, most of us are still going to watch it, but some people are like less, like they don't really want to watch it, like they don't want to get hyped up for it. And like that's the thing with me, like I don't really want to get too excited about it because I don't know if it's going to be any good or not because of Age of Extinction and Revenge of the Fallen. But then again, like a pattern I've noticed with the films, like it's the odd number film that is the better one. Like the first one was good, the second one was bad, third one was amazing, fourth one was pretty bad. The fifth one, if we're going by that same pattern, the fifth one should be the best one. It should be better than Age of Extinction. It should be on par with Dark of the Moon if we're following that pattern in terms of, well, in terms of my opinion anyway. For me, the fifth one should be the better one. But we don't know yet. We don't know if that's going to happen. It might happen, it might not. But one thing that I don't like, that I do have to say about hype and hoping for the movie to be good, like hoping that the movie will be just as good as Dark of the Moon, I don't want to hope it will be. What I do hope for is that like they don't screw it up, or that I just hope that it continues on the pattern that like it continues the story that it's got on, like that obviously Optimus is gone, but then obviously he comes back at some point. There's a lot of inconsistencies, like they go from Megatron to Galvatron, now they're back to Megatron again. That bit I don't really like. I'm hoping that the human cast is just as good as it was in Dark of the Moon. Like they're bringing back Lennox, and I hope he's just as great as it was back in the first three films. Like I loved Lennox. He was probably one of my favourite human characters, like consistently throughout the three films. But yeah, I'm just hoping it turns out just as good as like Dark of the Moon and the first one. Like if we're following that pattern, in essence, it should still be as good, but who knows? Who knows what it'll turn out like? I'm just hoping that it does, you know. But yeah, that's the thing about hoping. You can't really hope that much from a trailer. Trailers aren't really going to show much. You're going to need, like, obviously you get all the TV spots leading up to it, but we're never going to be satisfied with what we see until the movie comes out. and I think that's one important thing that we should all do. Just try not to hope too much for the film. Save all your excitement until release day when you go and see it, or if you go and see it maybe a couple of days later or whatever. Like, save your excitement for when it comes out. You can obviously get excited for the trailers, but don't save your proper excitement until you see the film for yourself, because obviously it's still kind of in production at the moment. They're still working through some things. So I think when all that's done, when the film comes out, that's when we need to evaluate if it's what we hope for. And I think that's the main thing about this, that question of, are the Transformers films, like the live action ones, everything we hoped for? For me, yeah, they are, but I understand that they aren't for everyone, clearly, because there are some people who are kind of going off the films, like I said I was at one point, but that's just a matter of opinion. And I think that's important for the films and important for all the franchises and all the kind of like cartoons, toys, whatever, all the sections that go under Transformers. It's important that we have an opinion on everything. It's important you have opinion on the films, I mean, and they might listen to us, like filmmakers, that they may listen to the fans when they want certain things from a film. I think they did listen to us after Revenge of the Fallen. Most people wanted a better film, so clearly they made a better film, personally, for me. But it's interesting thing to think about, of, are the films actually what we hoped they'd be? Like, as a overall, for me, I think they were, but individually per film, like obviously the even numbered films, like for Revenge of the Fallen and Age of Extinction, they didn't live up to my expectations. They didn't live up to what I thought they'd be, which I guess you can take from that then that maybe they didn't live up to my expectations overall, but I'd say they did, personally, just because even with Revenge of the Fallen and Age of Extinction, parts of it lived up to what I thought it would be. Like, I thought the Dinobots were going to be cool, and they were. I thought Jetfire and Sideswipe were going to be cool in Revenge of the Fallen, and they turned out to be. So it's all a matter of like how much of it is what we hoped it would be, and overall, most of what the live action films have brought to us have lived up to my expectations. And I'm happy that we're still getting more of them. I didn't think that they'd make it this far. Even after the first movie, I didn't think they'd make it to a fifth film. I didn't think they'd make it to a third film, but they are, and I'm thankful for it. I'm glad that at least some people like them enough to want them and to continue to make them. It's a good thing. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. Thank you for watching this TFYTC homework. I'll probably end up doing a couple more. I'll see how this one turns out, see if this video is as good as I think it'll be, and hopefully I'll do some more in the coming weeks. Depends if some of the subjects interest me or not. I'll see. So thank you guys for watching, and take care.